Endings are crucial. They can save bad movies, they can ruin otherwise brilliant books, and they can leave a bad taste in your mouth at the end of an otherwise stellar NCAA tournament. Did you read that? Officials from last year's North Carolina-Gonzaga game? Did you read what I just wrote? Maybe that was directed at a very particular, very small contingent of people. Anyway, for the opening weekend of the 2018 NCAA tournament to be in contention for the unofficial title of greatest ever, it needed a conclusion in keeping with the desired adulation. It delivered. Let's down all of Sunday's second-round action the only way we know how. 3 best games, 7, Nevada 75-2, Cincinnati 73, South. This was the biggest. Turn the channel, forget about the game, glance up at the little score box in the top right of the screen. 20 minutes later, do a double take, turn the game back on. Game of the entire tournament. That's the official title of these types of games, by the way. You don't have to observe standard title capitalization rules though. It's a special deal. There was nothing through the first 32 minutes of this contest indicating that it was remotely possible that Cincinnati might lose. The Bearcats led by double digits before the under 4 timeout of the first half, and led by 22 points with less than 11 minutes to go in the game. I'm still not entirely sure what happened next, because like I said, my viewing was cut off early in the second half and only resumed after the proverbial score box double take moment. After turning the game back on, I saw the Martin twins and Jordan Caroline absolutely dominate for Nevada, and everyone for Cincinnati completely fall apart. It ended appropriately for the Bearcats. The 22-point comeback for Nevada is tied for the second largest in NCAA tournament history, matching the deficit Duke came back from against Maryland in the 2001 Final Four. BYU rallying from 25 down to beat Iona in a first 4-game back in 2012 is the most extreme March Madness comeback. The furious rally is becoming a trend for the Wolfpack, which erased a 14-point second-half deficit to beat Texas in overtime in round 1. All told, Nevada has trailed at halftime in each of its last 5 games. That's probably a trend Eric Musselman's team would be well served to buck next week in Atlanta. 2. Purdue 76-10, Butler 73 East. Saturday's 2 standalone afternoon games were both extremely one-sided, leaving a previously overserved American sports public with nowhere to turn for nourishment. Thankfully, Purdue and Butler made sure that history wouldn't repeat itself on Sunday. First game of the day saw the Boilermakers firmly in control for most of the contest before a late Butler rally made things extremely interesting. The Bulldogs trimmed a 10-point lead down to 2, and had a shot to take the lead with 14.2 seconds to play. Kellen Martin's 3 found nothing but iron, but Butler still wound up with one final shot to tie the game at the buzzer. A closer inspection reveals that Kamar Baldwin didn't get the shot off in time, but whatever, that inconvenient fact keeps us from comparing his shot to Gordon Hayward's famous 2010 national title game heave, so we're going to ignore it. 9. Florida State 75-1, Xavier 70 West. Just when it seemed like the opening weekend had given us all the madness it had to give, it gave just a little more. Florida State rallied from 12 points down with 10 minutes to play to stun top-seeded Xavier and get some sweet revenge for last season. In the 2017 tournament, an 11th-seeded Musketeers team embarrassed the 3rd-seeded Seminoles, 91-66, in this same round. Xavier returned 4 starters from that 2016-17 team, which went on to advance all the way to the Elite Eight. Florida State lost its top 3 scorers from the squad that was humiliated, 2 of those players being selected in the NBA draft. March is strange, but you knew that. You've been reading these for 4 days now. God bless you for that. 3 teams that won it the best won. They played like it at the beginning of the season, knocking off West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Penn State and USC on their way to a top 10 ranking. Then some stuff happened. There were injuries, suspensions, and ultimately the dismissal of freshman point guard J.J. Caldwell. Even after everyone was healthy and the off-the-court issues had been cleared up. Texas A. They finished 9-9 in the SEC, lost their conference tournament opener at the buzzer to Alabama, and were an underdog in their first-round game against Providence despite being the better seed. Saying that things just clicked for A. Billy Kennedy's team smothered Providence on Friday and then absolutely boat raced North Carolina in front of a mostly pro-Tar Heel crowd on Sunday. If they can somehow bottle up those efforts and duplicate some form of them against Michigan, there's no reason to think the Aggies won't continue to advance. Clemson. The Tigers certainly fit the standard mold of a 5-seed ripe for the picking in round 1, an overachieving power conference team that struggles offensively at times and drew a mid-major power with NCAA tournament experience. Naturally, there weren't many who believed Clemson would ultimately win 2 games in convincing fashion and crash the Sweet 16 for the first time in 20 years. And yet here we are. Clemson's 31-point win over SEC champion Auburn matched its largest margin of victory this season. The truth is, Brad Brownell's team could have made it a lot worse than that if they'd wanted to. For some reason, though, Clemson winning a high-profile postseason game by 31 points just sort of feels right. I'm not sure why. I'm sure they'll celebrate this one just as thoroughly.